Hello everybody. Today we're going to go over the command prompt. Something you probably heard about on your computer, usually located on Windows machines, and the way you get to it is by pressing start and typing in CMD. There are equivalent tools out there and other solutions like PowerShell and Terminal for Mac, but we're going to go over command prompt today. So this window comes up, you've probably seen it. Depending on your system, it may take you to a different location on your computer. Pretty much this is telling us that we're in the C drive in a folder called Windows, and then a subfolder of that called System32. When we're in here, we can type something simple like dir, which just says what's located in this directory. And you see a huge list of files. And as you can see, it's kind of scrolling through. Another thing you can do here is you can do a command called cd, which is change directory. So we can do cd space ... That tells us that we're going to go up one directory. As you can tell there, the System32 disappeared. Now that we're in C Windows and we know that System32 was a directory that was there, we can actually go into it again by typing in here just cd space System32. We're back in that directory. So it's pretty interesting how you can kind of navigate and get through all in a command line when most people might not have any idea that that's available. Now, other commands you can actually run in the command prompt would be something to the effect of, let's say, clear screen. So we could do CLS, clears the screen. That way you can get a fresh location to work with. Another thing you can do is execute a bunch of different programs. One quick program would be ipconfig. That'll tell you what your IP address is, and kind of has some powerful information as well. And you can actually even do an ipconfig /all, which gives you additional information. Another tool that you can use in the command prompt, and another reason that you might want to use the command prompt, would be NSLOOKUP. So when you run NSLOOKUP, pretty much responds back and tells you, hey, I'm using this server. It's most likely, if you're at home, your home router, or if you're at work, it's probably a DNS server, which is a domain name server, which means, let's just say we want to search YouTube, type in youtube.com. we can actually get an IP address for YouTube. There are many different things you can do. You can say, hey, well, I want to check and see if I want to email somebody at YouTube. What would that record be? This is just like the main site that we just search when you just type it in without putting any records in. But if we do set space type equals MX, that means we're looking for a mail exchanger. Then you can actually press up and up again, and you can get youtube.com, punch it in, and you'll see that YouTube is using a bunch of Google mail servers in there. So there are different types of records you can look up. If you need to go back to the normal name, it's actually just a record. Just type in google.com, for example. There's an IP address for Google. And this is very powerful in diagnosing certain things, and if your DNS is broken, it's kind of a good step to kind of start with, seeing if you can get to the internet and if you're getting proper records or proper answers back from the system. So just one thing to note is that you can also cause a lot of damage in here, not necessarily in this NSLOOKUP, but in all of the command prompt. You want to be very careful with it, but at least now you kind of have a rough idea of how to get into there. Now that we're in here, this NSLOOKUP, we would just type in exit to escape out of it, and get back out of that specific program called NSLOOKUP. Another tool that you'd probably want to use inside of this would be ping. So we could do ping, and that would send some data from your computer out to a source, and if it responds to ping, it'll come right back. So we can try, say, pinging google.com, and you can see it replies right back, no problem. This pretty much is telling us that it searched on its own, it did the NS lookup on its own, it found the IP address for Google, it's sending 32 bytes of data to it multiple times. It took 29 milliseconds in this instance, up to, looks like 30 milliseconds, and it pretty much came right back, no problem. You got 4 sent, 4 received, 0% loss. Another thing you can do would be to ping an IP address, which is also 8.8.8.8 is a common server that you use from Google that you could use. Another one would be Cloudflare servers of 1.1.1.1. So it kind of gives you a good idea that what's happening. Are you able to get out to the internet? So if you can't actually ping by host name, I would try pinging by IP address, and then after that, if you are successful, then there might be something else going on with your computer. But if that doesn't work, then something major is happening with your, let's say, network card, router. Maybe there's just no internet at all going on at your house. On top of that, you can actually add another part to the command. You can do ping 1.1.1.1, and you can put in a -t, which is a continuous ping, and it's just going to ping it non-stop until you stop it. And when you stop it, you would just press on your keyboard Control-C, and Control-C stops it. So it kind of gives you a good rundown, at least on ping as well, and you can tell it's kind of powerful, and test the initial parts of your machine actually connecting to the internet. Okay, and now that we kind of gone over a bunch of different tools, we can actually go over creation of directories and kind of going through them again just real quick. Pretty much, we will get out of this directory, we'll go back to C, and we can actually, you can do that by doing cd ... cd ... or we can go back to it. And one thing I was going to say too is, if you notice, I'm actually typing and I'm able to hit tab while I'm typing, so I can actually let's say go type in one letter and then press tab, and it auto fills it in for me. So what I'll do is I'll go back up one directory, I'll do cd system, and I'll keep hitting tab. I can actually make it a little faster by going SYS, and then it finishes it for me. So that's kind of cool, like a little shortcut. On top of that, we can actually go cd \, and that'll take us right to C. So that gives you kind of a lot of commands there. And on top of that, we can actually also use mkdir, which is creating a new directory, and we can call it test. And then now that it exists, we can do cd and then maybe te, and then temp pops up, temp any, there's test. So we're in test, and now we can look at it, and we're in side the actual test directory that we just created. So that kind of lets you kind of have an idea of moving around inside of this and how it operates. So now that we've gone into this directory, we can use the echo command to echo some words or place some words into a text file. Just kind of a quick way to get the a text file created so we can kind of look at it and work with it a little bit. So we can type in the echo, and we can type in any set of words that we want to say. We can say this is a test file, and then we use the caret to send that data into a file, and we can call this file test.txt for text file. So what that did is that created a text file with one line of text that says this is a test file. Now we can actually look for that file, and we can see that it is pretty much there, and now we can actually execute the file, or at least open the file. When we type that in, a notepad will pop up and it will kind of appear here, and this exactly shows the file that we created. So it was created successfully, and it's got that, you know, minor contents. Obviously it'll be easier to work in Notepad, but at least that gives you a good idea of how to make the file, how you can throw something into it and kind of work with it. Now we can close this Notepad, and what we can do is we can, again, just look, it's still there. We can go ahead and delete the file, or we can do many different things. We can, you know, actually before we delete it, we can rename it, and we can say test2.txt. So now we have test2. We can actually copy it, and I'm using tab whenever I type in a name of a file that exists. So I can say test3. Now we need to make it copy. And we have now test2 and test3. So that's kind of a cool way to start copying files. And then we can also go ahead, let's make another copy just for the sake of a quick test. We can do test2, we'll call it test4.txt, and we now have 3 files. So we can go ahead and issue a command for delete. You can say delete test2. That'll go away, and we should now have 3 and 4. And then we should be able to do a command called delete star.start. This is also very dangerous. You only want to do it if you know what you're working on, that you're working on in a directory that only has stuff that you want to get rid of. And we press enter. It says, are you sure? Put a Y and we're good. And then it wiped out the last 2 files. So it's kind of a lot of information there, a little bit all over the place, but the command prompt can be used for many different things, for diagnosing issues, for kind of making sure that your machine is operating properly, and you can find out a lot of things in the background of the machine that could be causing an issue just by working in the command prompt. Thanks, and we'll be posting more videos, so hopefully you enjoy them and have a good one.